The main feeling I think that made it pretty addictive for me in the first place was being able to just fly almost over everything that was getting in my way. I would get faster and faster and faster and be able to go and see more, and I would challenge myself to see how far, I could get. My name's Ruby Desimone. I am a Long Beach artist. I guess my focus would be in illustration, but I love to dabble in other things. My journey as an artist started very young. I grew up in a family that was full of creatives, scenic artists, ceramicists, painters, poets, musicians, anything. It was kind of hard not to really be fueled by that kind of energy growing up. And you want to join? Come in. Yes. So I think growing up in that really gave me a push to pursue it as a livelihood, and I never was given a reason not to. My grandfather was actually a scenic artist for Universal Pictures and the motion picture industry. So towards the end of his career, I was able to go visit him on a few different sets. Like Seabiscuit and Hidalgo, those are ones that I remember going to. But we'd always watch different movies, and my mom would be like, oh yeah, like my dad worked on this one. He worked on Blade Runner, which was another pretty important movie, I guess, growing up and artistically. One of my classes, our professor literally just put on a Scary Stories podcast, and then we had to illustrate. That was probably one of my favorite projects because it was really interesting trying to capture the vibe and the type of scary story it was. This one wasn't necessarily like a spooky one. It was just kind of a weird thriller. I had to make a little portfolio book, and so I hand-made, hand-bound, hand-laid all of the paper and stuff on here. And this is just kind of a collection of work that I think really defines me as an artist and where I'd like to go and what I focus on. This was actually a mural I worked on in LA for a restaurant, like a barbecue restaurant. And it was one of the last moments I got to actually work with my grandpa. He drove me out a couple times and displayed some of his techniques for creating foliage, using foliage that he picked up from around the area. This page was done by all the people in my collective, so everybody's different styles has me and all my different friends right there. My family is creative in many different ways, and my dad was creative with everything that he did. He was an adrenaline junkie, and I definitely got that from him. Losing family members really young, like my dad, when you're older is hard enough to go through. When you're still kind of figuring out who you are and how to function as a human being, and then you see like, oh, okay, you stop functioning as a human being at some point. Learning those life lessons was hard, and kind of put me through some things, I guess, but I at least had my family and my community there. So. This is Scarlett. I named her like a year or so after. Really driving around the streets of Long Beach, being pointed out in my purple Mustang. When I was 13, I had asked for a horse for Christmas, and my dad, being a car guy, found this. And me, being a gearhead in training, loved it. So this was kind of a project that my dad and my brother had started for me. And I got to help finish, and it's a continual project, and I don't necessarily get to work on it as much as I do, but just having this little piece connecting me to all of the different places and people that I love, and being able to cruise around and see the community that I love being a part of. It's a pretty fun experience. You can't really go wrong when you start up the engine of a classic and it just roars in your face and go rumbling down the street. Yeah, she'll start. When you think about it, everything that has been accomplished by humanity at this point has happened because one person shared an idea or shared a passion and went to another person and was like, what do you think of this? And then that person contributes to that and adds on to that. And I feel like we all kind of went through this moment of feeling really alone and feeling really disconnected from everybody. And personally, that put me in a place where I wondered if all of this feeling of connection and community that I had built up was something that I could turn back to. And once I started reaching back out and reaching towards people that seemed to be in a similar position, I realized how powerful it is and how much it can mean to someone to know that they can have a community to go back to and connect with and be a part of and exist within. And if I can just give that feeling to a few people or my whole communities, wherever, whichever ones are applicable there, I'll feel like I did a pretty good job of being myself, I'll feel pretty accomplished there.